over the last 12 games, they are 11-1 with the league best defensive rating at 104.7, better than OKC, which is the best defense in the league on the year. So that's a really impressive number. Also, they are number 1 in the league in net rating over the last 12 games, slightly above OKC there. And I think that the big thing for this Hawks team right now is that not only are they playing defense at the highest level in the NBA over, a pretty significant stretch. This is not a small sample size anymore. They're also 9th in the league in offensive rating at 117.5 over these last 12 games. And I think the big concern for me when, you're kind of considering where this team goes once Trae Young is out the door is how they're going to look offensively. It's looked really good. Jalen Johnson's been playing, some fantastic basketball all season long on this end of the floor. I was critical of his defense earlier in the year, but he's picked it up on that end of the floor lately. But offensively, he has been really, really good as the focal point for this team. I mean, last night in a win over the Magic, 12-point win, Monday night, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 13 assists, a really, really good performance from him. And then also you look at that game and you got 41 points from Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and he was a plus 27 in 37 minutes of action. Alexander-Walker and Johnson are actually two of the players that are right up there on the board when you're talking about most improved player. And I think that in Alexander-Walker's case, I was a little bit down on him as like a candidate this year because I've always thought he was good. I thought he was a great player for the Timberwolves. It's just a matter of him now having a much bigger role. But you are talking about a jump from 9.4 points per game and 2.7 assists per game in 2024-2025 to 20.3 points per game and 3.7 assists per game this season. Also, his shooting percentages have gone up from last year to this year, despite, having like doubled his volume. I mean, he's 7.5 field goal attempts last year per game, 8.2, completely messed it up. 7.5 field goals attempted last year per game, 15.5 this year, 4.5 threes attempted last year, 8.2 this year. So he's getting a lot more shots up. His percentages have gone up. That is crazy. And just overall, he's doing a great job of kind of running this offense. And he might not be like a real point guard. He doesn't really, set the table for his other players to, get to their spots and score. That's not the type of player he is, but he's good on the ball. He's a good scorer and he's great defensively. So getting a 20-point per game scorer that also plays very good perimeter defense, home run of an off-season acquisition for them, and definitely a guy that's thriving without Young right now. But overall, I think this team, you look at it, and I don't know that they can actually do damage in the Eastern Conference playoffs. That's not where I'm going with it, with my future. But this team is minus 135 to reach the playoffs, and they have a pretty easy schedule remaining. I don't see any reason not to hammer that play. I think that that's something that maybe even 3 or 4 units try to win with a play like that, because this team has a chance of getting into the top 6 when all is said and done and not having to play in the play-in. Like I've talked a little bit about, some of the teams in front of them. The Raptors aren't playing all that well. I mean, the Heat are a good team, but the Hawks aren't much worse than them. They're only 1.5 games back from the Raptors, who are the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference right now. Given the fact that they're on a 10-game winning streak and, playing the best basketball of the season, I don't see any reason that they can't make up for that over these next 24 games. I mean, there is still time. Over the next, 14 games. There is still time for them to get this done. And I really do think that there's a great chance that they do it. So I think minus 135 is a really good play, because not only do you have the top 6 opportunity, you also have the play-in where right now they are the 8th seed and they have a real chance of being the 7th seed. If you are the 7-8 seed, either in the 7 or 8 spot, and you're a solid team, you have a really good chance of making the playoffs, because you're talking about, having 2 cracks at it. In the 7-8 game, you have a chance to play for 7. If you lose that game, you face the winner of 9-10. I think 2 chances for the Hawks, given the way that they're playing right now. And if they were to be hosting that 9-10 game, that's like a game that I would expect them to win in Atlanta. But this is just a team that I think has been fantastic. And I'm not stopping at just the playoff play. I'm also going to put a little bit on them at plus 550 to win the Southeast Division. And that's another one where it's like they're only 1.5 games behind the Orlando Magic. And I've said it before, in this show, The Magic are playing against the Thunder, and the Heat are playing against the Hornets. These are games that both these teams can lose. These are the teams that are ahead of the Hawks. They're only 0.5, only one game behind the Heat. They're only 0.5 games back in the loss column, though. If the Heat lose tonight, they're going to be both at 31 losses. And, there are games remaining for the Hawks against these teams. I mean, they're going to face the Magic again. I definitely saw that when looking at their schedule. Yes, so they play Orlando on April 1st, and they play Miami on April 12th. So there are going to be games against both these teams. Coming up, they have a bunch of games against losing teams. So I don't know. I feel like these are some really good prices for a team that has found itself without Young and just with all these new rotation pieces. So it's been a bang up job now for Snyder, a complete 180. I've got to throw away, eat my crow from early in the year. He's doing a great job with this roster. They're all bought in. They're all playing together on offense. Defensively, this is an awesome team to watch. They're connected. They're big. They're physical. All of it. So this is a well-coached team at this point in the season. They're hot. They're healthy, knock on wood. But I do think this is a lot of value for a team that's playing some of the best basketball of any team in the league. So, yeah, minus 135 to reach the playoffs, plus 550 to win the Southeast. I'd go bigger on the playoffs play, smaller on the Southeast division. That's a bit more of a long shot, but plus 550 is a really good price given where they stand in the standings and given how they've played lately. So I really like this Hawks team now. Like I said, don't know if they can actually make a run in the Eastern Conference once they get in, but definitely not a team that anybody wants to face. Like, there's just so much that this team does well and so many weird things you have to deal with when you face this team. Just so much length and athleticism and just kind of youth. It's a really tough team to play against, and teams are finding that right now. I know it's been a lot of wins against bad teams over this recent stretch, but you beat the teams that are in front of you and you beat them by big margins. You're doing your job. And then the win over Orlando last night, that was a win over a good team, a team that's playing really well. They were similarly hot over these last 10, 11 games. So that was a big one. To do it by double digits, that says everything you need to know. We'll see how they look when they face Houston on Friday. But this is a team that I do think is playing very, very good. And I'm excited to see how it goes the rest of the year. I think there's a real shot we look at this after game 82 and they're the Southeast Division champion.